All right, welcome back, crime fighters. Thank you for joining us here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted, the program where you get to help make Calhoun County a better and safer place by helping us lock up some bad guys. I'm Chris Wright, along with Calhoun County Sheriff Matthew Wade. Good to see you, Sheriff.
Hey, it's good to be here. School's letting out. It's warm. It's beautiful days. It ain't been raining quite so much. It's been just an exciting time.
A couple of proud papas here with kids graduating this week.
You have a son and I have a daughter, both graduating high school this week. I'm not going to lie, a little emotional. Last night she had her year-end video and she's like, "Are you crying?" I'm like, I'm not crying, but it's happy but sad.
Yeah, so. It is a great moment. And of course, we want to make sure it's a safe moment when we have graduations. I was actually out of town this past weekend, went out of state to visit my nephew who was graduating, and oh my goodness, the parking around this place, it was ridiculous, and it'll be that way, and it can create some unsafe situations.
Absolutely. You know, this morning I went to a elementary school function and cars are down the road and people were parking. You know, the main thing is to remember is patience. Arrive early. Don't let your car be in the roadway. You know, make sure that when you're walking across the street that people see you. Don't just assume that they do. But parking and those kind of traffic-related things are a big concern of ours, especially with all the children running around.
And also, equally important is to make sure that your air horns are in good. If you've got them stored in the garage or whatever for a long time, they may not still work. So you want to test that air horn before you get. No, just kidding. Please don't do that.
They'll probably ask you to leave graduation if you do that. You know, my daughter's graduation will be outside, so it might be a little better, a little more rambunctious than an inside.
We had a few of them inside at my nephew's graduation.
And well, I can tell you this: summertime's coming around. This is when it gets really dangerous for kids when they're at home and parents have to work. Just make sure that you have a good plan for your child and good communication with them, and make them communicate with you. You know. I worry about my children just like anybody else does, and we just need to make sure that you have a good, strong plan for how your children are going to use their time this summer.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's talk about how our viewers have used their time this week.
3 arrests brings our total up to 4,400 people, and we can't do it without you, and we truly appreciate that. We've had a lot of Crime Stopper tips come in just in the last couple of days helping us with arresting some potential burglars, so we appreciate you and appreciate you calling us.
All right, we will have the first half of this week's lineup coming up in just a moment here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. First up on our lineup this week, Terry Savage. Mr. Savage, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted on a probation violation for domestic violence second. And we'd like you to meet Emmanuel Lipkins. Mr. Lipkins, he's from Newcastle, Alabama. Wanted for failure to pay on possession of marijuana second. And meet Jeremy Watkins. Mr. Watkins, most recently known to be living in Ohatchee, wanted for failure to appear on domestic violence third assault. And this is Lisa Hanna. Miss Hanna, last known to be living in Anniston, she's wanted for failure to appear on attempted burglary third. And meet Marquita Burns. Miss Burns, last known to be living in Anniston, she's wanted for failure to appear on obstruction of governmental operations. And this is Clayton Brown. Mr. Brown, last known to be living in Jacksonville, he's wanted for failure to appear on burglary third. And last up for the first half of our lineup, Anthony Gaydurgis. Mr. Gaydurgis, last known to be living in Rome, Georgia, he's wanted for failure to appear on theft of property third and attempting to elude. And that's it for the first half of our lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show.
All right, we'll have the second half of this week's lineup coming up in just a few minutes. But Sheriff, right now let's talk about some activities for this summer. It's not just sitting in your room with video games, is it?
It shouldn't be. You know, you need to get out and do things, experience life, and that's more than a virtual reality on a game. So.
And our libraries are a great resource all through the year, but some people forget, especially during the summer. And so we've got the director of our Hobson City Library, Sharon Thomas, with us to talk about some of the activities that you've got planned.
Oh yes, we have a lot of activities planned for the summer break. Children need to get out and come to the library. I know all of our area libraries have the summer reading program going on, and our theme is Alabama has a universe of stories. And so with that, we'll also be celebrating in conjunction with the reading program, this bicentennial for Alabama here. So come on out. We have programs going on for the children to participate in. We have performers coming in. We're going to kick off with the Tommy John's Magic Show. And it says, take me to your readers. And so keeping that space theme going on, if the children would come on in, they will find that they will have activities, hands-on things to do, programs to participate in. And so, you know, I heard you talking earlier about, you know, children need to have a place and some activities to do for the summer. Library is a great resource for that. So parents, get those children up out of bed and have them come on down to the library and participate in some things.
And the air conditioning works too, doesn't it?
The air conditioning is working fine, just fine. And but we also want to admonish the parents to let them know too that when they bring their children, that's an opportunity for them to interact, to be a part of activities with the children, because it also helps with the supervision of children, especially those under 10. They need to have adult supervision to guide them. And our library staff can't be everywhere at the same time. So when you come participating, we want to make the Hobson City Library their destination determination so they can come on in and just enjoy.
When I was, I guess, the summer after 4th grade, I think it was, I was participating in the summer reading program at the Anniston Calhoun Library. And I read the most books, but I didn't win the contest. I got beaten by a kid that read one book. She read Roots, 4th grader. And okay, at the time I didn't really, I was like, well, she read one book, but I understood later, wait a minute, that book? Okay, all right.
It's
It's a little bit thicker and a little bit more in depth than the books I read.
Yeah, a few inches. But you know, I don't want to discourage any child. As long as you're reading on your grade level, we have incentives for every stage. We have incentives to come in and register and check out your first 5 books. That's great. So for every 5 books, you get to earn a prize. So we have prizes at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and grand prizes at 30 books.
Very cool. How many books are you going to read this summer, Sheriff?
You know, I read every day, but I don't necessarily read books. I read technical manuals,
Yes.
things like fishing, hunting, turkey hunting.
Oh yes, that counts too.
I'm
That
glad it
counts.
does, because that's what learning how to fish well is important to me.
Yes.
It's very important over the summer that the kids do some reading and engage their brain in this way. Study after study after study shows that kids that just take a summer break and don't do any reading, when they get, even if they did great in school that year, when they get back to school for the next year, they've lost so much of what they learned the previous year. They're not as prepared for the new year as the kids that did some reading.
Right. And educators would call that the summer slide, where they lose some proficiency, they lose that fluency, they lose that automaticity in reading, and it carries over in every area, in math, science, social studies, grammar, every area. Reading is very important. And so that's one of the reasons that we want to push that reading, because the more fluent you are, the better you can understand. Because if you can understand at the rate that we're talking, and you can read at that same rate, you can comprehend better.
And I thought the summer slide had gotten me one year when I was a kid. After my 1st grade year, I'm getting ready for 2nd grade, and I said I'm going to get out a book and I'm going to read it to get ready for 2nd grade. And I pulled the book out, and I look at it. My parents said, I started looking at it, and then I just started crying. And they said, what's wrong, Chris? I said, I forgot how to read. I'd picked up one of my mom's French books. Fortunately, I was okay. I got another book and I could read that. We need to take a quick break. We'll come back and we will talk about some other things happening at the Hobson City Library over the summer here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Robinetta Wiggins. Miss Wiggins, last known to be living in Anniston, she's wanted for failure to appear on attempted possession of a controlled substance. And this is Jeffrey Rogers. Mr. Rogers, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for failure to appear on possession of marijuana second. And take a look, if you will, at Kyle Millsaps. Mr. Millsaps, last known to be living in Cedar Bluff, he's wanted for failure to appear on theft of property third. And meet Jonathan Dutton. Mr. Dutton, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for a probation violation of theft of property first. And this is Rogelio Prado Cacho. Mr. Prado Cacho, last known to be living in Leeds, he's wanted for a probation violation on trafficking in methamphetamine. And last up in our lineup this week, Dennis Williams. Mr. Williams, last known to be living in Oxford, he's wanted for failure to appear on theft by deception third. And that's it for our lineup this week. If you have any information on the whereabouts of these folks, please give Crime Stoppers a call at 256-238-1414.
All right, we'll have our Crime Stoppers segment and our Crazy Criminal of the Week coming up in just a few minutes. But Sheriff, right now we got Sharon Thomas from the Hobson City Public Library talking about the summer activities. And certainly there will be a lot of getting outside and jumping through the water sprinklers and all that kind of fun. But there will be some fun at the library as well. And you really do try hard to make it very fun, don't you?
Oh yes, we have hands-on activities. They can come in and select activities to work on at the tables, and coloring, cutting, pasting, scavenger hunts on the computer, websites that they can use to search for information. And we have plenty of new books coming in. They're already in and we've gotten them on the shelves. A lot of the books that children the popular books that children like to read now, especially on those summer reading lists. So come on in and get started.
All right, so let's talk about some of the specific events that you've got coming up. I think we've got some graphics here to show you what some of these are. So tell us about the magic show.
Yes, this is our kickoff. This is going to be on June the 3rd, Monday, June the 3rd. Kickoff for the summer reading program. And this is the magic show with Tommy John. And his theme is Earthlings, Take Me to Your Readers. Since our theme is a universe of stories, we're going to be concentrating on those things dealing with outer space. So not only that, then when they come into the library, they'll be able to do activities centered around that as well.
All right, and then we've got Doc Adams. Please try this at home. Usually they say, please don't try this at home, but this they say you please do try it at home, right?
Oh, yes. Blast off with Doc Adams. He has a universe of space exploration, and he'll be talking about science concepts, dealing with space, and presenting all those concepts in a fun format.
And then we've got,
No, I'm out.
We want to skip this one. You gonna have snakes in the library?
Oh, we will have Yarborough's Educational Live Reptiles. I mean, that is a lot of fun and it's very interesting. I like to keep my distance, but I do like to see them. That will be in July. Now, since our library is very small, we will be hosting all of our programs at the FEMA building that's just right up the street from the library, so that we can have plenty of room, because we're expecting a lot of kids to come out.
And also that way, when you go back to work the next day after this show, you won't have to worry that any of the snakes got loose.
Right.
And then we've also got Gutsy the Flying Fox.
Yes, this will be culminating our summer reading program. Gutsy the Flying Fox, he does a lot of acrobatics. I mean, it's an awesome show. I really enjoyed it myself.
All right, and during the summer, you've got a calendar. We've got some special events, but there are also things that we can count on happening each week at a regular time, right?
Yes, we have Monday movies. So movies start at 9 o'clock. So if they come on out, they can bring a little snack and enjoy the movie, have fun, and still have time to check out books.
If you're not able to advance promote which movies you're going to have, right? But if people call up the library that week or the week before, they can find out which movie it's going to be on that Monday. Is that right?
Yes, so we do have a list of movies.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's listed on the calendar, and we can advertise those things. So, but if you come by, the telephone number is there on our flyers, and if you come by, you can see what movies are being posted each week, and enjoy.
All right.
And so there are a lot of family-friendly movies.
What are the hours for the library in Hobson City? Does it change during the summer?
Yes, we are a part-time library, so our library goes from 8:30 until 2 o'clock. And that gets all of our morning shows and everything that we need to have done during that time. And so we have plenty of time to get everything in.
And of course, nowadays, Sheriff, the library is more than just books, too. You've got other items that you can check out and use.
Oh, absolutely. With all the technology today, libraries have evolved and changed, and it can be a fun-filled event. So,
for those people, we have outreach to the Talladega Library, so patrons will be able, who have disabilities, vision, or other handicaps, they can select books, and they will send books on cartridges that can go into the readers to read for them. We also have outreach to the Anniston Career Center, so we will be having 2 sessions of resume writing and job searches, teaching people how to use the computer to construct their resumes and to search for jobs.
Very important skills.
Yes. Thelma Ronarski from Anniston Career Center will be coming to conduct those workshops. We have outreach also to the Calhoun County Extension, who will be coming in doing nutrition programs for our teens and youth on Tuesdays. So come by the library and get a calendar so that you can keep up with all of the special events.
It's going to be a full summer. Sharon, thank you so much for taking time to be with us. And have a great summer and see a whole bunch of kids.
I hope so. All right. Thank you.
We will be back in just a moment. We will have our Crime Stoppers segment and our Crazy Criminal of the Week on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show, where we ask you to help our investigators with the following cases. Sometime between May 6th and May 7th, a breaking and entry occurred at this residence on Chocolaca Road in Anniston. They got away with some money stolen from a vehicle. And on May 14th, the home was burglarized on Wellington Drive in Wellington. 5 firearms and a safe were stolen from that location. Also in the safe was various paperwork and jewelry. And sometime between May 8th and May 10th, the red push lawnmower was stolen from a residence on Chocolaca Road in Anniston. And last up on your caseload this week, on May 15th, a 2000 Chevy van was stolen from a business on Alabama Highway 77 in Lincoln. And that's it for the Crime Stoppers portion of the show. If you have any information on these cases, please give us a call at Crime Stoppers. That number, 256-238-1414. Remember, we want your information and not your name.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
Sheriff, I imagine that you are oftentimes running into criminals who think they're smarter than the police, right?
every day, every day.
Quite often, they're not right about that, and I think that's the case for Mr. Jesse Dean Kowalczyk from British Columbia, Canada. And he'd been wanted for almost 4 years on 3 outstanding warrants. So they put out on their website about him in their weekly Most Wanted segment, similar to what we have, told people in the area to keep an eye out for him. And he messaged them back and said, y'all are morons for not realizing that he was in Edmonton and he wasn't coming back. So he told them where he was.
Looks like he came back.
He did. With the help of the folks in Edmonton, they just pick up the phone and call.
It
And
kind of looks like he might have had a little scuff on the way. I'm not quite sure of that, but
yeah, he may have resisted. I don't know. But anyway, we appreciate you tuning in this week, and we'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.